Hello, hello, hello. You clicked on the bloody video. Thank you. Welcome to a press preview of a beta in progress. This is Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector. It is about the struggle of the Blood Angels versus the Tyranids. In this case, in particular, some of you will immediately notice that their shoulders do not have Blood Angel insignias on them until you actually go look it up. They are Blood Angel's 8th Reserve Company Reserve Assault Unit. They are technically a training company who you are playing as. This is set up in the grim darkness of the 41st millennia. The game is a turn-based strategy game that tries to incorporate as many elements of the actual tabletop game into the gameplay, while at the same time providing you with an unique experience. I can say that the two missions I was given to preview are not bad. There was a little confusion the first time I played the refinery mission, simply because the way the map is set up, one of the objectives is located off to the side, and unless you know to go look over there, you won't, because you'll assume that it's locked off, because the way the map is set up is straight north-south, and then there's this little place over to the west that you can go to complete an objective, and if you don't, you fail. Whoops. I couldn't find the objective. I was like, where is the objective exactly? I actually got to the second objective marker before the first, and was like, I turned it off, right? Why did I still fail? And it took some redoing and map searching to make sure that I was, hadn't screwed everything up. Happens. And you can all tell me that your first time playing Dawn of War, the first game, you didn't have an issue of going to the wrong objective first. Because my third mission, you all know what I'm talking about if you played the original Dawn of War. Yeah. And that's something that 40K Battlesector is going to have to deal with. No matter what it tries to do or how it tries to do it, it is going to be compared to Dawn of War heavily. Anytime you make a Warhammer 40K game, you're going to get compared to 3 games. Dawn of War 1, Dawn of War 2, and Space Marine. Those are the 3 games that we basically had, and that was it for the better part of a decade. So those are the 3 you're going to get compared to every time you make a 40K game. No questions asked. That said, I have played through the 2 missions available to me 4 separate times each, just to make sure I wasn't missing anything, to make sure that I had everything with me. I'd say I put a total of 20 hours into making this preview. I put so much time into making this preview back and forth to make sure that I got everything that I wanted, that the devs actually revoked preview access before I finished this video. Whoops. Had to re-give me access for the weekend and then revoke it again on Monday. That was funny. But Dawn of War, I called it Dawn of War, that's bad. Battlesector has a decent unit balance. I feel like independent characters are more special ability buttons because their lethality in combat is kind of terrible. What I mean by that is that the 2 independent characters I was given control of, one Assault Marine Sergeant and one Apothecary Captain, neither of which felt particularly useful to me in terms of actually killing the Tyranids. They would rush up, attack a single model in the enemy unit per action point, and they only have 2 action points, and when you're facing down a Hormagaunt unit that has 8 models, and it's 2 models for your turn, and then they get attacked back and literally ripped apart. And then you're scrambling to protect your independent character. But the other units, and I'm going to use the terms that they use because they're the terms for Blood Angel units. the Incessors, Incinerators, Aggressors, Assault Marines, the Librarian Dreadnought, and they definitely felt like they were there. They were fantastic. They're excellent representations of what you would expect a Space Marine to be capable of doing. And the Tyranids, on the flip side, were in fact what I would call a literal army without number. At the end of the battle, I went through and just started counting Tyranid bodies and easily exceeded 100, almost 150 Tyranid bodies in the Army Depot mission, and in the big refinery mission, easily exceeding 200 Tyranid bodies on the field. I do have a complaint in relation to the Tyranid, however, for unit variety, but we'll get to that shortly. The map design was pretty solid. I like that these feel like handcrafted missions. I enjoy that. Please don't get rid of that, and I'll go over that in a moment. But the way the map works is standing around a corner or behind an object does provide you with a cover bonus, which means that a percentage of the shots fired at you will hit the cover piece instead. You can get a cover bonus of 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or full cover, which if you're in full cover, only 10% of the shots actually get through. Part of what I was doing was not only experimenting, but looking through the game code as it happened in order to try to see what was going on behind the scenes. So kind of pull back the covers and be like, okay, so I have a 10% chance to hit when I'm shooting at something in full cover. Good to know. And that's just part of the dissecting of the beta build that was sent to me. The unit variety. Oh, well, let's go back to the map design just for a second. I got a little ahead of myself. The map design is still pretty solid. You have this element of feeling like the Tyranids are constantly closing in from all sides. Even when your assault objective is in front of you, you get Auspex ratings behind you, you turn around and you're like, oh shit, they're coming up behind me. So you have to constantly balance out where you send your units, either on the right flank, left flank, or in some cases directly to the rear, in order to counter the swarm. And you're going to want to be heavily aggressive. The way it feels like you're actually playing Blood Angels, because if you try to sit back and let the enemy come to you, you don't do very well in these missions. But if you just play aggressively like a Blood Angel, you will smash your way through. And the map design is made to exemplify that feeling of I have to be the one to go get them. I can't let them just come to me. You're not playing Imperial Fists, you're playing Blood Angels. Go kill your enemy. Don't fortify this position. Unit variety, the Space Marines feel decent. As I said, you have Incessors, which is the Blood Angel term for Tactical Marines or Battle Brothers. You have Incinerators, which is the Blood Angel term for plasma gun users or flamethrower units. They're plasma guns in this case. You have a Librarian Dreadnought, which is literally just what it sounds. It's a psyker put in a dreadnought with a giant force spear to shove directly up a Tyrofex's ass. I've jumped into the middle of my own video. Why do I do this? What is wrong with me that I literally interrupt myself to do myself? Is that technically masturbation? Anyway, hi. So, if you are interested in seeing our Dungeons & Dragons live stream games, our Fallout Equestria tabletop live stream games, or our Star Wars live stream games that will be restarting next week, but can't make the live stream, or want to review them or catch yourself up, link in the description below for the streaming channel. That's where that goes now. It doesn't go here anymore. It goes over there, and I'm keeping it over there. If you want to see our Fallout Equestria animations, music, audio dramas, particularly the series that I enjoy, the weekly series that we do called News from the Bunker, check the Shotgun Angel Productions channel, linked in the description below. It's labeled It's labeled Animation and Audio Drama channel. Click on those links. Go check them out. Make sure you're subscribed. Remember that Shotgun Angel Productions updates every week, and the live stream channel. I'm going to try to get all the live streams caught up in the next 2 weeks because of our internet outage, and you guys should be able to see all of our RPG shenanigans anytime you want. In the meantime, back to the video. I did that. Granted, tragically, just before I did that, the Tyrannofex did turn around, walk away from the librarian, and kill an entire squad of assault marines. Like, I wasn't taking the Tyrannofex seriously because it wasn't doing any real damage to the dreadnought. That my tech marine wasn't just running up and literally patching as quick as the armor was ripped off. The tech marine's like, bang, 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 done. Fixed. It's good. We're all right. And then, like, I ran my assault marines up thinking, I'm gonna eat a Tyrannofex. Tyrannofex. Chomp. Those poor assault marines. They did. So on the Space Marine side, the unit variety feels decent. It could use some work. The only vehicle I was really allowed to play with was the land speeder. I don't consider dreadnoughts a vehicle. Let me be clear. I don't consider dreadnoughts a vehicle. I consider them a special character. They may have vehicle rules as far as armor goes on the tabletop, but I still feel like they are a special heavy support character and not a vehicle whenever I look at them because of how they role play when it comes to the actual story of the game, which is something we're going to get to. I'm assuring you we're getting to those parts. But the Tyranids feels like they need work. At present, I was faced with Termagants, Hormagaunts, Gargoyles, which are basically 3 models that are the same, just with the arm bits changed out. So Hormagaunts have claws, Termagants have bioguns, and Gargoyles are Termagants with wings. Venomthropes, which are a melee unit that specializes in poison and assault, as well as desecrating the ground, which you're seeing on the screen, where they run up and they poison the ground itself, so we take additional ranged melee and poison damage if we stand in there. And the Tyrannofex, and that's it. There was no Carnifex. If you're deploying Tyranids, that's a big one. Carnifex is a big one. You need to make sure you show that. No Tyranid artillery unit, no Tyranid worms, no Tyranid grub swarms, nothing but just those 4 units. And I'm like, the Space Marines have a higher variety because they have Incessors, Librarian Dreadnought, Tech Marine, Apothecary Captain, Assault Marine Captain, Assault Marine, Incinerator, Aggressor, which is the Terminator, and a Land Speeder. So the Space Marines have 9 unit types, and the Tyranids had 5? 3 of which are derivative of each other? May want to fix that. May want to fix that. Because there should be a much... Like, Tyranids are one of the few units that should have a much bigger variety. Carnifex and Gene Stealer are definitely the 2 highest on the list that I should be seeing. Followed by Hive Tyrant. And I'm not seeing any of those. I didn't see Harpies. I didn't see Hierodules. I didn't see... Like, I only saw the 5 units, and I'm kind of actually disappointed with that. And I'm hoping that they have included the 30 different Tyranid units that are actually available. Like, where's the Lictor? Where's the Lictor? That's a dead serious question. AI? I feel like the AI is not aggressive enough. There are points when the AI is definitely coming to me, but there are also points when the AI isn't focusing its fire. I get that that it hard locked me to the difficulty of Initiate, which I'm assuming there are harder difficulties. I really hope the harder difficulties aren't just a stat change. You know, like XCOM 2, harder difficulties changed the AI behavior. Units did their special abilities more often, and units looked for different opportunities to flank rather than just do standoff firing. So I hope that there is a concerted effort that the AI is improved on harder difficulties, and that harder difficulties aren't just give the AI more hit points and more damage. That's on you. Make sure you do that, or I would be disappointed. Disappointed just like I was with Panzer General 2, where the AI, unlike Panzer General 1, harder difficulties in Panzer General 1, the AI actually got smarter. Harder difficulties in Panzer General 2, the AI just got buff stats. Now, into the lore accuracy, the part that we really want to get into the meat and potatoes of. This is done very well. Space Marines talk like Space Marines. They sound like characters such as Gabriel Angelos or
suffer for this butchery.
I forgot his name. Typhus. They speak like characters from previous 40K games who are Space Marines. They talk with a certain amount of gravity to them. They talk with a slowness and depth to their speech and a deliberation. They also don't use contractions. There is a large concerted effort here to make these guys sound like Space Marines who are larger than life. I appreciate that. The Blood Angels calling their units Incessors, Incinerators, Aggressors. That's great. Keep that up. Do the thing. Librarian Dreadnought. That's something that only Blood Angels have. I like where this is going. I'm all with it. Yes. Do more of that. If you do a Tyranid campaign, do not give the hive mind speech. Tell the campaign through the eyes of your enemy. Battlefleet Gothic 2 did an amazing job of this, where when you play the Tyranids, you don't ever hear from the Tyranids. You only hear from their victims. And it really added to the cosmic horror. Do that. Don't try to give the hive mind some kind of intelligence. Looking at you, Dawn of War Retribution. I feel like this demo should have included army management, because there's clear rewards for each mission that I am receiving. Whether that be requisition points or commendation medals, I don't know what they're spent on. I don't know how they work. This demo would have been much better if I could see how army management works. This demo would have also been much better if when deploying my army, it wasn't just a button that turned the unit on and off. I did play these missions with fewer than the actual total units they gave me just to see what that was like, but I didn't really have control over where the unit was going to get placed other than into the next available square, and then I couldn't move them around and deploy them somewhere else unless I undeployed the units that I wanted and then redeployed them in the order so that they would appear in the right squares. Also, squares? I'm speaking from experience here. Squares? Like every strategy game that I've really enjoyed recently that's turn-based is hexes. Squares? We're going back to squares? Go back to hexes. Hexes. Do hexes. This feels like 2014, not 2021. There was a point somewhere between 2014 and 2021 where all turn-based strategy games transitioned to hexes. I don't know when that was, but I genuinely appreciate it. You should stay with that, go with that feeling. But I don't know if you're going to redo the whole map system to do that, and I doubt you will. Mission design. Holy cow. Handcrafted missions. Not procedural generation. Yes, do this. All of this. Please. More of this. Do this thing. This feels like straight out of Dawn of War 2 or Dawn of War 1, where you're playing the campaign and the mission is handcrafted. It might be the same every time, but you're still willing to play it 50 freaking times because you're going to do it different ways and it's going to challenge you and you're going to increase the difficulty. Yes, handcrafted missions. Do this, please. Also, including mission generators so I can create my own. I love this. Do it. Don't argue with me. Do it. I'm glad this is a beta, however. I'm going to get to the one big complaint. Unit animation. Who the fuck did this? Look, I know I'm getting on someone's case, and they're going to probably be upset with me initially because I'm going to put it very bluntly. Bad job. What you have is a basic bitch unit animation.
Your orders.
I am going to compare you to Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2. The Assault Marines here just walk forward and swing their swords and shoot their pistols and walk back.
Affirmative. Battle line squad ready.
The Assault Marines in Dawn of War jumped on people, kicked them over, leaped into the air with their jetpacks, rammed chainswords down throats, and revved them until they pulled them out of their chest. Your Terminators walk forward and swing. The Terminators in Dawn of War 2 grabbed people with the power fist, picked them up, and crushed the skull. Your Dreadnought, that's your Dreadnought. Dreadnought in Dawn of War, flamethrower to face, slam in the ground, toss aside. Your Land Speeder has the same animation to fire its heavy bolter. And the Land Speeder in Dawn of War 1 has 3 animations firing its heavy bolter. You have the beginnings of what could be a turn-based Dawn of War. Not Dawn of War 3, like Dawn of War 1 and 2 turn-based. You have that in your hands. You gotta make the presentation. Your unit animations are stilted, they're unimaginative, and they're just straight up holding this game back. A large audience is going to say, well, I enjoy the gameplay, but the animations just take me out of it. I enjoy the lore, but the animations just don't do it for me. Because the animations don't really represent what's happening on the screen. You saw the animation earlier where I literally shoved the Force Spear up the Tyrannosaurus's butt, but you have to ad-lib your imagination a little bit to really see it. I appreciate that unit facing is important because if you're shot in the back, you take more damage, but at the same time, everyone has the exact same animation for the attack. There's no variety. There's no tension with it. You either need the zoom-in camera like you have in XCOM, where, yes, it can be the same animation for the 10th time, but because it zooms in and it plays the animation, and there's camera switches between firing and the enemy taking the shot, and the enemy flying off their feet and tumbling and ragdolling, and there's these little subtle things about it that make it visceral and make it feel real. You don't have a zoom-in camera. Hell, I can't zoom in far enough to actually get a good look. I'm glad the unit models themselves have a very painted tabletop quality to them. I can appreciate that as a former tabletop player. They look like models that were painted, that were handcraftedly painted, put on a table, and then played. And somehow came to life and animated. But I hate the fact that the animations are dull and stilted. Units don't actually get shot at and then press themselves into cover to avoid the damage. Units don't really interact with each other. They kind of run up, do their attacks, then run back, and I'm like, if you're engaged in melee in this game, you have to attempt to disengage, or if you just try to walk away, you will suffer attacks of opportunity. I feel like that if 2 units are engaged in melee, they should have their models moved halfway between the 2 squares they're in, and actually just be passively sitting there, blocking and parrying each other, going back and forth until you issue until one side or the other gets to issue an attack command. Like it should look like a fight's going on, and it doesn't. It's disappointing.
Your orders.
And it this animation issue just destroys the immersion that you would have with the game. So what I see here is a boatload of potential. A boatload of progress that needs to be made, particularly with animations. And I didn't actually get to do anything with army management between battles, and I would have appreciated doing that. Or maybe seeing some of the units that aren't quite ready for to be put out yet as like a special unit that you throw down, like a Predator tank, or a first company unit, or maybe a Death Watch strike team. Just something to kind of, satiate the appetite that there's something more here than just Space Marines and Tyranids shooting at each other. I hope they can deliver. Go have a look on Steam. Games doesn't even have a release date yet. I hope they hear my feedback. I hope they do something with it. I look upon this game with great interest and will keep track of its progress. And if you know that quote, you're an old 40K fan and you're an old Dawn of War fan. In the meantime, this has been Fiaura. Do hit the like button. That's literally life and death for creators. People don't seem to understand this. This video gets seen by more people based on how many likes it gets. That's how it works. If you don't hit the button, then the creator doesn't get more people to come in, and we feel like we have done all this effort for nothing. Bang. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys see the list of patrons as well as the Honored Dead, and in the meantime, I will see you guys next time, whenever that may be. I'm not going to make videos here super consistently. I'm going to make them when I feel like it, when I feel like it's important to do. This was important to do. But I'm not going to do them daily. I'm not going to do them weekly. Period. End of story. As I said in the interruption, if you want to see like daily stuff, go look at the live stream videos that get put out over on the live stream channel. Link in the description below. If you want to see the weekly stuff, go look at the audio drama, audiobook, and music channel down. Link in the description below. It's also called Shotgun Angel Productions. In the meantime, I will see you guys over on stream today and especially tomorrow for Fallout Equestria Dead Trees RPG. Good night, everybody.